3, 2, 1.
Hey everybody, I hope everybody is having a great day. Waiting on some people to jump in here. The notification just went out. So tonight we are going to be wrapping up Sunfish. Basically answering any questions anybody has. Just, talking about our local wildlife resource agency. Hey Sandy, welcome in. And just covering the last little bit. And then next week we are going to jump into crappie. So I'll wait till tomorrow. There's Mr. Darrell. Hello, welcome in. There's Sampy. Hey, Sampy. So glad you guys joined us. Stan is not going to be with us tonight. He is under the weather, so definitely send your good thoughts and feelings to him. Can you guys hear the fan in the background? Is it loud? I forgot to turn it off. If it is, I'll turn it off. I got a new computer, so I'm not sure exactly how sensitive this is. Wait and see. Can you guys hear that fan? Is it loud? Do I need to cut it off? Been going through training this week, learning how to do a different job. I'm the same job, but different thing in the job. Okay, perfect. Hey, F Century, welcome in. And so it's been days of learning, and I just got off at 5:30, and I'm used to working all day tonight, so it's definitely a big change. I've been going to bed earlier than normal because I've been having to get up, and I don't like it a bit. I like my evening shift. So glad to see everybody in. But like I said, Mr. Stan, he is not feeling well, so he will not be joining us tonight. If anybody wants to jump up and hang out and talk, finish wrapping up bluegill, or finish, just come up and chit chat. I'm gonna post the link there. You're more than welcome to. I'm not used to being up here by myself, so this is a newer experience for me. So that's okay. We'll get through it. Oh, perfect, half century. I'm glad you got them. Yeah, I was hoping everybody would get them today. It took me a few days to get them out, and I mailed them Monday, so we will. Hopefully, everybody's got theirs. If not, hopefully they'll come by tomorrow. So I had a ton of them to send out, but I was looking. And Daryl, I'm going to ask you this since you're in chat. I was looking on the TWRA website. Where do we go to find out our fish limits? Like where you buy your fishing license? Oh, that's okay. That's okay, Daryl. I love the I haven't got to see the grandbaby, a picture of the grandbaby in a while. You need to post one. I seen her when she was just born. I bet she's a big girl now. But is that where you go, where the fishing license, where you buy your fishing license? And that's where it tells you what the limits are for each species that you can keep. I've got the let's see. I got the TWRA website, Tennessee Wildlife Resource Agency. And let's see. Download the guide. It tells about Free Fishing Week, but it doesn't tell me Yeah, but where? Let's see, where online? Always find the fishing rules online. Yeah, I was Googling it, but I figured if I was having a hard time finding it, then somebody new that was actually looking for it would probably have a hard time too. So, and I didn't, I searched how many fish you can keep while fishing, but it came up to aquarium answers for whatever reason. And so I thought, well, I'll go, oh, there's Half Century.
Hello, Cause. How you doing?
Well, hey, how are you doing?
Just fine. Just taking a nap from last night.
Nothing wrong with that. Nothing wrong with that. Hey, Curtis, welcome in.
Yep. So Stan's not feeling well.
He is not. He is not
Yeah.
feeling good at all. So
Sorry.
everybody send out good and well wishes for him.
Yeah. Sorry to hear about that.
Yeah, me too. I'm
Yeah.
not used to doing without my stand.
Yeah. I'll help you out a little bit.
All right, I appreciate that.
You
So,
know.
what do you search when you go to look for your fish limits?
Well, like it depends what state I'm in, what water, because some
Right.
rivers are different from lakes. But I just look up the rules. Now you can get the booklets where you buy the license
Hmm.
physically, and they'll give you the limits and the rules about fishing.
Right.
And usually I get like, I was in Kentucky last Sunday and I just got online and, they're different from Ohio. And yet I was on the Ohio River, but as soon as you tie up to the Kentucky bank, the laws of Kentucky come in.
I know that definitely can get confusing for new anglers.
Yeah, it can. Yeah.
Yeah. Hey, Gray Wolf Outdoors, welcome in. So glad you came to join us.
So
Yeah,
your show tonight was going to be about catching brim and bluegill.
yeah, just finishing everything up. We've been discussing bluegill about baits
Mm-hmm.
and about how to we started out with rods and how to do all of that, and then we went to brim, and so this is going to be the last show on brim, and then next week we're going to start covering crappie.
Yeah. Yeah. I love catching brim, or we call them bluegills up in here in
We'll do
Ohio.
that.
And
Yeah.
they're good for catching bass, catfish, or a little bit of everything. Really,
Right.
it's a natural bait.
Absolutely. When you do go to catch bluegill for bait, because I mean that's mainly what we do as catfishermen, but we're using them for bait. But um, they're fun, aren't they, Daryl? But what do you usually do? Do you usually put them in a bucket until you're done fishing? Do you usually string them and keep them in the water, or do you
I,
usually put them on ice?
I put them in a 5 gallon bucket, and I have a little aerator. And I do keep a little ice. The secret is for keeping any fish or bait is keep, especially as hot as it is now, keep that water cooler, and just put a little bit of ice in there with them, not too much, and it'll make them bluegill last, all night if you keep the aerator on them.
Right.
And there's
Yeah.
something, if they get sick and they're not looking good, that's when I'll put them on ice with a little water in them.
Hey, Fluff and stuff. So glad you came to join us.
Hello,
But
Fluff.
yeah, I always keep. I always as soon as I go fishing, what I do is I've got a bucket and I tie a rope on it and I drop it off the pier and just get a bucket of water, and then I've got an aerator that I have that I just stick down in
Yeah,
there, and it always keeps them alive really well.
yeah. But yeah, I like to use them alive, for the big catfish. They like to see the live brim or bluegill.
Right, and when you bring them home, how do you keep them alive at home until the next day?
An aerator, and keep them out in the garage or outside if it's not too hot. But in this hot weather, it's really hard to keep bait alive in a boat.
Yeah.
But it's like catfish. I used to keep catfish in tanks, and for people, and the well water came out of the ground at 52 degrees, and at that temperature, that keeps the catfish really good,
Hmm.
keeps them alive and healthy. And it's the same with bait. That bait water gets so warm, you can lose your bait, because of the warm water.
Absolutely.
And you
Yeah.
got to, yeah,
Add ice to it is a definite great tip
yeah, yeah,
to keep them
yeah.
going. Because
Yeah,
I know, I've got a cooler that I kind of transformed into a overnight bait tank.
yeah.
And so I keep them in there and I put a stronger aerator in there and
Hmm.
just make sure they're good. The water's nice and cool. And then they usually
Yeah.
like,
Yeah, if I'm going to keep fish like to take home to eat, I got a real large cooler I put in the back, and I'll put 2 bags of ice in that, and then when I catch the fish, I'll put water in it, and it'll keep them fresh till I get home to clean them.
perfect.
You
Yeah,
know, I like that. Water temperature is a big deal.
absolutely. And what do you think is have you ever put a thermometer to see what temp is good that keeps them alive, or you just kind of go
I
inside?
Well, I have a temperature, but I gauge to check them. But I think somewhere like the water temperatures now are 80, 85, 90 degrees almost now with this heat.
Hmm.
I think anywhere from 65 to 72 is a good temperature to keep fish or bait, in my opinion. I mean, it may vary with other people.
Absolutely. So kind of like us, they like the same temperature we do.
Yeah, because like I noticed, like Sunday, my wife had a smaller bucket, and she put maybe 6, 7 minutes in there, and she didn't put the ice in there. And within 20, 30 minutes, they're looking for air, and it's getting too warm for them.
Hmm.
But and when the minutes die off or whatever, I put them in icy water so they can be frozen and then used again for other baits.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah,
Well, I know, I used to, whenever I was growing up, my father, he bluegill fished a lot,
yeah.
and we ate bluegill quite a bit.
Hmm.
And so, he would always keep them alive until right before he would fillet them.
Yeah,
And so, and it definitely does make a difference. You don't really, I mean, you can definitely put them on ice if you're going to eat them, but if you're going to eat them, keep them alive or
yeah,
keep them on ice. Don't let them just be down
yeah,
in water until you can get home because it.
yeah. They just don't taste the same when if they die and they lay in water for an hour or two. They just don't have the same taste as being fresh, right from the bucket, being alive.
Exactly.
They taste really
Absolutely.
fresh. I used to eat bluegill a lot when I was younger.
Hmm.
Crappie, I love crappie. Oh man, that's the best eating little fish.
Hmm. Crappies are good.
Yeah,
Yeah. And my father, that's what he did. He would fish for bluegill, he would fish for crappie, or he would fish for bass, and that was it.
yeah, yeah,
And so, I've had all three a lot in my life. So,
yeah. But everybody likes catching them catfish now, and they really bite on live bluegill really good.
oh yeah, Daryl swears by them. And in our
Yeah.
waters here in Tennessee, I mean bluegill, I get more bites on bluegill than I do skippies.
No,
So,
you catch your bluegill around the docks or just around
hmm
the edges of the river.
hmm
Yeah.
I catch
Yeah.
them. There's a dock down at Fort Loudon Lake where I like to go fish a lot.
Yeah.
There's schools of them that hang out underneath those docks. There's three big docks. They're spread apart a good
Yeah.
ways, a half a
Yeah.
mile I guess each. But them and crappie. They live up underneath that structure, so you can catch both just about all the time.
Yeah. Yeah. They're easy to catch. Bluegills are, and all you need is a small hook, a worm, wax worm, and they'll just keep biting.
Hmm. And so, what's your go-to bait whenever you're going to fish for bluegill?
Uh, just regular worms, maybe a night crawler. Just use small
Hmm.
pieces of night crawler, and you got to use a really small hook. If your hook's too big, you're not going to catch them
Yeah.
as much.
And I've noticed with bluegill too, like I was using a regular bait hook where
Hmm.
the shank was, a lot longer than where the hook part is.
Yeah.
And I started fishing with shorter shanks, hooks, the
Yeah.
same size hook, but shorter shanks.
Yeah. That's
And
what I use. That's what I
yeah,
use.
and I wasn't gut hooking them and things like that because,
Hmm.
uh, they even the small ones they can get them in their mouth, but then if you're going to release them because we don't always keep them, If
Yeah.
you're going to release them, you want to release them as healthy as they possibly can. And if
Oh
you
yeah.
too deep, then it's over with anyways.
Yeah. Yeah.
So,
But yeah, a lot of people. I know a lot of people that I like. The other place I lived, I had a 3 acre pond in my backyard, and people would come there and just fish for bluegill and crappie, and they'd sit there all day, and they'd put 3 or 4 hooks on one line
mhm.
and bait them up, catch 2 or 3 bluegill at a time. It was just amazing how some people fish for them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I know, you can always tell, like on the dock where I fish, there's an old riverbed that runs that you can hit from the dock,
Yeah.
and that's where the catfish are. And
Yeah.
so I've got lines that I throw out to the catfish, and then, you can just see people, and it's so funny because you can tell by each person how they're fishing, exactly what they're fishing for, because there's a lot of crappie fishermen and a lot of bluegill fishermen down there.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's kind of getting warmer to go crappie fishing, but you can still get them in a little deeper waters.
And so, do you tend to find them whenever you're fishing for them? Do you tend to find them deeper or more shallow?
The crappie,
No, the bluegill.
usually shallow under like a dock or some type of a tree or cover. They
Hmm.
seem to hang more underneath it. Um, they hang in big schools under there, and you can just pull one out after another.
Hmm.
They like
I
structure. They love structure, just like a crappie.
That's right. And
Yeah.
Joe says he beats the banks on the river for brim all the way to their fish on their way to their fishing holes. Ultralight rods and worms. We have live
Yeah.
wells in the boats and no worries. That's awesome, and that's a great way to do it.
Yeah.
Because you can always find bluegill on the banks. You can always stand there, and if you stand there long enough and you look in there, you're going to see a little bluegill.
Yeah.
Uh, but where I fish on that dock, they stay on the bottom.
Yeah.
And so it just depends on where you're located. You kind of gotta find them, whether or not, just keep trying. And I've used wax worms. I've used all different types. I've used artificial. I've used everything.
Hmm.
And there's nothing like a night crawler chopped into 5 pieces, and
Yeah.
one in
Yeah.
there. There's nothing like a night crawler to catch bluegill.
Yeah. That's like my wife's like that. She just loves catching bluegill and brim,
Hmm.
and I can take her to a mud hole and she'll find a way to catch them
That's right.
all
That's
the time. All the time she does.
I think that's one of the biggest tricks to fishing for any species of fish is being able. You got to be able to figure out where the fish are, and
Yeah.
you got to experiment some, because you're not going to know until you get to know a spot well. You're
Yeah.
not going to know exactly where they are, so you got to try. If you're going shallow and you're not catching a bunch, then go to deeper water and try that.
Yeah. But I noticed a lot of bluegill. If people fish a lot or throw food off of a dock, they'll tend to hang around that dock more, and
Hmm.
it's easier to catch them when they're used to being fed, just like a catfish. If people are throwing, like if you go down on some of the docks on Lake Cumberland and stuff, they don't allow you to catfish there, but they're there right there because people are throwing that food right in the water to them.
Right, right, right.
But
Yeah, Fluffy Stuff says that she's got 1 feed of fish left in the freezer box, and she has to do some serious fishing to get a couple of feeds of fish in the freezer.
yeah,
So, yeah, and we all go through that. I know I was out of bait a couple of weeks ago, and I was like, I just need to go bait fishing. I've got to, get some bait in the freezer.
yeah,
When I go fishing, it's just me, and so I don't go through a ton of bait, even when I
yeah,
fish all day and all night. So,
yeah,
my bait tends to last quite a long time, and
yeah,
thank goodness for that. But
yeah,
definitely, and I don't really keep fish to eat. I did keep a few and had my daughter a fish fry, but that was because she was asking me to.
yeah,
So I mainly, only keep them for bait. And other than that, um, I
yeah.
just
My
let them
A
go.
lot of times, if my wife doesn't have worms, she'll use small pieces of bologna or a hot dog and catch the bluegill.
Yeah.
And I've seen her catch bass on them.
Hmm. Yeah.
It's crazy.
It's amazing what you can, I mean, you can catch a catfish or a bluegill on a hot dog,
Yeah, yeah, you can.
I mean, it just depends, what you're fishing for. But I love the bluegill fish. I love
Yeah,
it.
yeah, it's
I,
very relaxing just sitting there pulling the bluegill in one after another.
it is.
And
I remember there was one day I was at the dock. I was wore out from catching bluegill, and I think it's the only day in my life I actually was. But
yeah,
man, I caught like 40 something bluegill back to back to back to back
yeah,
to back. I mean,
that's a lot.
it was a ton. And I
Yeah,
kept the first 12, and then I just kept catching them. So I just kept, throwing them back. I was like, I had to
yeah.
sit back and rest and watch my catfish rods for a little while.
Yeah, them bluegill, they'll work you to death if you want to keep putting the bait out there.
Yeah. Fluff
You
says
know.
that 80% of her diet is fish, and she said that she caught prawns in the casting net to use as bait, but they ended up
Yeah.
eating.
Yeah, I used to eat bluegill a lot more when I was younger, not so much now. And our rivers are the same. They advise you in the Ohio River, they advise you not to eat too much catfish
Yeah.
because of the same issues as Tennessee. And it's a shame. When I was a kid, we would eat a lot of them. We'd have fish fries,
Hmm.
and I
Yeah.
love catfish, fresh catfish.
Yeah. Well, you should have seen the first time I filleted bluegill, I filleted bass, I've crappie. I know how to fillet a fish. I did it, my father taught me when I was young. But
Hmm.
now a catfish is a whole different beast.
Yeah, it is.
And so you should have seen me. It was hilarious filleting my first catfish. It was hilarious. And it was so bad. But by the third fish, I just about had, I was getting a good, nice fillet. So,
Yeah. Yeah, it takes practice, and you got to have a sharp fillet knife too.
real sharp.
Yeah, and once you get it, you don't have to take that skin off. Just cut that meat right off the skin once you get it off the bone and the back of the catfish. It's easy to fillet them once you get it. After you
Yeah.
get a little practice.
Well, that's what I did. I left the skin on while I was filleting, and then I just filleted off the skin because that's how you fillet
Yeah,
other fish. And I didn't have one of those skin pullers and all that stuff.
yeah,
So
yeah. I used to see people that get pliers and pull the skin off, and I'm like, well, let me show you something here to save you from all that work and pulling that skin off. Just cut the meat off in a big slab and then fillet the skin off of it. And then normally up at the top, you got to cut the rib bones out of the meat.
hmm
And then once you got that, you got a nice piece of catfish.
hmm
Usually the fish, if it's a pound and a half to say 3 pound, that's a good fish to fillet up there. I think for a fish fry.
yeah,
When they're real big, I won't clean a fish if it's 5 pounds or bigger.
yeah,
And
yeah.
but I used to have two fish fries when I had the other place with the large pond there. I'd have them twice a year. We'd get 50 or 60 people come out and eat that fish. We'd have fish, and then we'd do hamburgers and hot dogs. Some of the kids and people didn't like fish,
hmm
but my grandfather taught me, 50 years ago, how to cook, catfish, fillet it, and bread it, and season it, and then deep fry it. And make some hush puppies and some fries with it. Nothing, there's nothing better.
Yum. That
Not
sounds good.
not good for the heart, but it's good.
Yeah, no doubt. Yeah, Kayak made a good point. The roots, by trees, and the roots get exposed under the water. Those little bluegills hang out there
Oh,
closer.
they love that. Yeah,
Yeah, and then the bigger ones, they do go out deeper.
yeah,
And so, yeah, that's a great point. And Fluff says that it's Friday morning there at the moment, and she's thinking about doing a fish fry for Friday night, fish and chips Friday. I think that sounds good.
yeah. I've been watching her cook lately. She's been cooking all week at the house. I've been
Yeah,
watching, Fluff cook,
hmm
and
yeah, she's got a great channel.
yeah, I watch it all the time. And I watch her and her friend go out on the pier and fish. It's interesting to watch.
Yeah, something different than what we're doing.
Yeah, yeah. I watch a lot of the people in UK lately, just watching them carp fish and just the kind of fish they catch. I'd love to go over there once in my life. Never have been, never been over there, but I would love to go over there and spend a week
me too.
and
Yeah.
just see it and fish there and just see what their life is like.
It would be amazing, wouldn't it? A
Yeah,
whole new experience. I know anytime I can get close to the ocean, I'm fishing.
yeah. Oh,
And
I love saltwater fish. Nothing like it. And I'm getting ready to, a couple weeks to go up to North Carolina. I go there twice a year up there to Washington, North Carolina.
mm-hmm.
It's right there where John Parker just bought that camper. But I go up there to catch blue crab,
Mm.
and I let go up there and crab. And then in the fall, when trout season comes in, the spotted trout, I go up there and try to catch my limit per day there. It's really I go up to Belhaven, North Carolina, to do that. And,
Mm-hmm.
oh, there's a lot of people that travel there every year just to go catch the limit every day.
Absolutely. Yeah. I mean, we've got a
Yeah,
great trout fishery being it, right here at the Smoky Mountains. And so
yeah,
you can go up to any stream, anywhere you can pull off the road and be in trout heaven.
yeah. I've seen videos, but I've never fished for them up there
I haven't
in the
either.
mountains. Yeah, I've never fished for them, but I've seen videos where people catch them,
Hmm.
and it's a good eating fish.
Yeah. But when I was growing up, my father was I catch bluegill, crappie, and bass, and that's it. So he would never
Hmm.
let me try to catch anything else. And so I've never even went trout fishing. I've never caught a trout.
Yeah,
It's right here in my backyard.
yeah.
And so,
I didn't start trout fishing until I was later in life when I seen people catch them, and then that's when I started. And then going to North Carolina up there in like Belhaven, North Carolina, you can catch really nice ones just off of spinners and the baits they sell for them up there, and it's just the easy fish to catch and very good to eat.
yeah,
And
absolutely.
there's nothing like big old pot of blue crabs cooked with corn and small red potatoes
Hmm.
and some Polish sausage and season it all up and cook it. I got to do it once or twice a year just to be human.
Hmm. Yeah, well, I've definitely been crabbing before, but
Yeah,
not necessarily targeted blue crab. So
yeah,
that's interesting.
yeah. There's all kinds of different crabs and there's different seasons, but like in Virginia and North Carolina, and they're everywhere. You can just come right in off of the salt water. They're there. You can go up in the back rivers, and
Hmm.
some people just catch tons of them every day.
Wow.
They catch them off the trap. I got, I think, 3 or 4 traps. As a non-resident, I think you're only allowed to have a couple traps, and then you can catch them on a string. You can put it like a chicken leg, wrap it around a string,
Hmm.
and put it down there. And then when you see the crabs eating on it, you just pull it up slowly and catch them with with a fish net.
Ah, yeah.
And a lot of people do that. They don't even use a cage. And if you're a resident, oh my God, you can catch a lot. As
Mm,
a non-resident, I think you're allowed 12 a day or something like that. As a non-resident, 12 to 15. But
gosh.
it's not hard to do once you learn how to do it.
Yeah, it's fun. That's the one thing about fishing that I absolutely love is there are so many things to do in fishing. I
Yeah.
mean, there's so many things to fish for and so many different ways to do it. It's so interesting.
Yeah, it's interesting watching, how people, we all got our little different ways of baiting, catching, and it's just like you on YouTube. It's taught so many people how to fish better. Even me, I've learned a lot watching some of these people, some of their techniques, their baits, and to catch more fish. And I see it in a lot of people.
Hmm. Yeah, I mean, I didn't grow up catfishing, and I always wanted to. And everything that I've learned so far, I've learned off of YouTube, uh,
Yeah, it's
and
how a
I'm
lot
so
of
thankful for that.
yeah, a lot of people, never. I mean, when I was younger, I fished and catch a lot of them, and it just wasn't a cool fish to catch. But I always just, I don't know, catching a big 15, 20 pound fish back then, that was big. Now everybody wants the 50, 60 pounders.
Hmm.
and they're fun to catch, especially in a kayak, because I go kayaking a lot with my kayak, and it's the Sportsman. It's the 136, and when you hook into a 15-20 pound blue or tan or whatever, it's a blast. Just feeling that boat pull you around.
Absolutely.
You kind
Yeah.
of go with the fish. It's really cool feeling.
Yeah. Yeah. Hopefully I'll get that feeling here soon. I keep waiting. Things keep
Yeah,
happening, and
yeah,
I don't know if it's going to happen. It's just when it's going to
yeah.
happen this year.
That yeah. What type of kayak are you looking for? You looking for one with a motor?
Yeah, I need one that I can put a trolling motor on.
Yeah. Well, mine, the Sportsman, it came with the motor. It's in the floor.
Yeah, you've
But
got my dream kayak.
yeah, they're expensive, but it's nice. You charge them about every other trip, and they're very stable.
Mm-hmm.
It's a very stable boat, and
Yeah, those
you
old
can
towns are amazing.
yeah, you can stand up in them, and as long as you don't hang over the sides. But no, they're a very stable boat, and they're designed like there's like plugs in the back and the front where the water, if it's raining, it just goes right through the kayak down to the water.
They're your
It'll
scuppers.
Yeah, it'll never sink. That's how they're designed.
Right. Yeah, I mean, at this point, I just want one. Hey, Lance. Hey, Carmel. Hey, Paul.
Hey,
Uh,
Lance.
mhm. I just, I want one that floats, that can handle the weight capacity that I need to be able to have my
Yeah.
battery on there and me and my dog.
Hmm.
And I just want one that's stable enough that I can catch a big fish and it not flip.
Yeah.
And
How big's your dog? What type of dog
uh,
do you have?
he's a boxer,
Oh, okay.
so
Yeah.
he's about 80 pounds.
Yeah. The Sportsman, the 136, and there's a 120. I think the 120 would be a good boat. And if you look around, you can find them used. Some people buy them, use them 3 times, and then they don't want them no more.
Yeah, I know. I look on Craigslist and I look on Facebook
Yeah.
Marketplace every single day. And I almost had a Brooklyn kayak,
Yeah.
but he ended up selling it before I could leave the house, and so
Hmm.
I lost out on it. It devastated me. But they're not rated the most sturdy, but it's a great kayak still in minute.
Yeah.
It would have been a
The
great purse kayak for me.
Yeah, the Hobie kayaks are really good, but they're real high dollar. The Hobies.
Yeah. And
Uh,
I know Dan from Green Machine Outdoors. He
yeah.
was selling his Hobie, and he
Yeah.
gave me a chance to buy it. But I can get let's see, what's it called? I'm drawing a blank. The new kayak that he got.
The
Uh,
precision,
no,
percussion. I think
no.
there's like a percussion.
What is it? It's I'm completely drawing a blank. But anyways, I could get a brand new kayak and outfit it for the price that I could buy his used kayak.
Yeah.
And it wasn't that he was selling it for too much. He wasn't. I mean,
Yeah.
according to how much it was and all of that, he was selling it for a very good price for the kayak.
Yeah.
It was just more than I mean, I could get a brand new kayak that was more sturdy, that could
Yeah.
handle, the same as that for less. And so I just decided to pass on that one. But
Yeah. I
because
used to I used to fish out of just the regular. I don't know, maybe 10, 15 years ago, I'd use just the regular paddle kayaks,
mhm,
and they're okay, but you're kind of down in them, and it's harder to fish out of them. Especially if you had your dog with you,
mhm,
you'd really be cramped. And when they fill up with water, they sink. They're not designed like the newer kayaks.
right.
They
Yeah,
just, they
the
got chambers in them.
kayaks revolutionized
Yeah.
fishing.
Oh yeah. Everybody's out there trying to design a better kayak now, but
Yeah,
Sportsman and the other one I told you it's probably top of the line, for safety, but they're
mhm,
just so darn expensive. But if you find them used, you can save $1,000, $1,500.
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I've even been looking at boats as well, and
Yeah.
see. But I mean, I know, and I have known that I really want a kayak. If I can find a
Hmm.
boat that was a great deal, then yeah, I would probably take it. But I mean, I've been looking every single day
Yeah,
for both, just to see what's out there and see,
yeah.
what's being offered and how much they are. And the ones that they post that are, great deals, they are gone in an hour.
Oh yeah, yeah. And if you got a lot of friends and family, pontoons are a good way to go fishing.
Yeah.
Because you got the cover, the bimini tops. You've
Mm,
got the couches and the seats for people to sit. But what I like about the kayak, you can pull that motor up just by sitting in the chair.
mm-hmm.
You pull a cord, it comes right up, and I can go in 6 to 8 inches of water, get
Exactly.
back in waters that I've never even been in before without getting out of the boat.
Absolutely.
And
Yeah.
that's
I
what I love. That's what I love about it.
I wouldn't. I mean, a pontoon is nice. I fish with Pontoon Jody quite a bit, and
Yeah,
I got to experience being on a pontoon, and it was great.
yeah, it is.
I fish by myself, and maybe once or twice a year, my daughter and her husband would join me on the boat. So a pontoon is just way too big
Yeah,
for anything that I'm interested in.
yeah,
And so, yeah, I did. I want to get a kayak just because I want to be able to access those waters, the 6 to 8
yeah,
waters, and get back in the creeks off the main channels. And
yeah. I'm gonna go catfishing tonight, and I'm gonna wait till it gets dark and go. I'm just gonna go by myself tonight. I went last Sunday, and I took my wife. She had that operation a couple months ago, and she's just starting to get the strength to get out there and fish. And she got really cold Sunday, and we ended up coming in 10:30 when the fish were just starting to bite again. But she's more important. I took her home to let her warm up,
absolutely, yeah,
but it
yeah.
doesn't bother me.
But
I
you're
can still.
going, but you're going tonight. You're going to fish all night.
Yeah, I'll probably stay out to maybe 3 or 4. If they're biting good, the big ones, I'll stay until I usually, if they're biting good, I'll stay to sun up.
Yeah, that's normally if I go out, like if I go to night fish, I'll get down there about 8 o'clock, and then I don't come
Hmm.
home until to after the sun comes
Yeah,
up, and that morning bite drops off.
yeah. I've already got my bluegill. There's a young boy down the road. He likes to catch them, and I give him a quarter a piece for him, and he just loves it. And
Nice.
he'll go catch him out of a pond. And I got uh, I got little traps. I'll catch some chub minnows and take them. And I'll take a little chicken sometimes. You never know. It's might be the trick that night.
That's right. You never know, and you just got to
Yeah,
kind of fill them out and
yeah,
try different baits. It's the same thing with bluegill as it is catfish. You just kind
yeah,
of test the waters and see what they're wanting that day.
yeah. But skipjack is always the best bait to catch catfish if you can catch the skipjack, the bait, or
Yeah.
buy them fresh.
Skippies, I swear, I mean, I know that everybody around here swear by skipjack, and
Yeah,
I'm not taking anything away from that, but I have caught way more catfish on bluegill and chicken than I
yeah.
have a skipjack.
Same with me. Not it's because it's harder to get the skipjack, and a lot of times if you buy them frozen, they're just so old and they wouldn't put away right when they were frozen.
Hmm.
But I'm the same. I've caught more on chicken and night crawlers. I've caught nice catfish off night crawlers.
Have you?
Yeah,
I've loaded some hooks up and put them out there with night crawlers and just to test, but I've
yeah.
never caught a catfish on them.
Well, Sunday we went on the kayaks. The wife and I. She was in hers and I was in mine, and every fish we caught was on nightcrawler.
Really?
Yeah, and I had chicken. I had some shad, and I caught some fresh white bass, and used some of them, like 6 inch, 8 inch hole, just on one hook for nighttime with a double hook.
Hmm.
And it seems like the flats are in spawn bad. They're not biting, but the channels are biting, the smaller ones.
Right.
But there's like I saw Mark from Catfish and Crappie. He caught a couple nice flats the other night on Hog Legs show live,
Did he?
which was cool. Yeah, he caught I think they were 12, 15 pound, and he caught a nice 6 pound channel cat live on the Hog Legs show.
Nice.
But it won't be long. They'll be out of spawn and biting good again.
Yeah, yeah. Tinkerbell just jumped in. She's saying hey to you.
Hey, how you doing? I can't see. I'm on my phone,
Yeah.
and I
Uh,
just
yeah, channels are fun to catch. Kayak Plus made that comment, and I agree because I remember one day, and this was when I was on the boat. I was catching blues, and I caught a channel cat that was half the size of the blues that I was catching. You know, they
yeah,
weren't blues. Don't get me wrong, but
yeah.
that fish fought me harder than that blue did.
Wow.
And so I've noticed those little channel cats, they've got a good little fight in them. They're
Oh
fun.
yeah, my wife got one 2.5 pound last Sunday, and it really caught her off guard, and she's like telling me, "Help me up." I'm like, "No, it's your fish. You catch it. You bring it in."
Yeah.
You
I
want?
mean, it's fun, and I
Yeah,
mean, channel cats are in such a big range of weights like blues are, even though they're
yeah,
smaller fish, they're still fun to catch.
yeah. The last 2 Sundays, that's pretty much all I was catching is white bass and the channel cats. Nothing big though.
Hmm.
Nothing over 2.5, 3 pound. Just smaller ones.
Yeah, I was hating that I missed Mark the other night. I knew that he went live late,
Yeah,
and you can get them on smaller rods. That's exactly right. And
yeah,
so if you just want to get into catfishing, and you're just looking to kind of see if you like it,
yeah.
targeting channel cats is a great way to go.
Yeah, Mark, the weekend before he was on Danny Stone's live, Danny stayed up all night, and then he got on Danny's show, and Mark he caught a couple 20 pound flats,
Wow. Well,
and
that's why I haven't been in your show, and that's why I haven't been in anybody's chats at night, is because, especially this week, I've been training for a new position. And so
yeah,
uh, I've been having to go to bed at like 9 o'clock. It's been
hmm
early, early. So I haven't even, because if I'm on YouTube and I get in a chat, I will make myself stay up. And I won't go to sleep. And it's like, oh, I've got to not do that, because
yeah,
then I'm dragging all day. And
yeah. It's hard to stay up late. I mean, I usually go to sleep early and then wake up, and I'm usually up the rest of the night. But
mhm.
there's times I like to sleep at night too, and
Well, and I'll be perfectly honest. I'm a night. I've always been a night owl, and
yeah,
it's killing me missing, because I haven't got to hang out in Mike's. I haven't got to come into yours. I haven't got to
yeah,
hang out in Lance's much,
yeah.
or Hogleg. And so it's like, I love my late night shows, and being
Hmm.
able to go hang out and stuff. And I've
Yeah.
just had to, especially this last month. Well, really since I was in the hospital and I've come out.
Hmm.
I've been taking different medicine, and it's been knocking me out earlier, and
Yeah.
going through a bunch of changes due to my health. And
Yeah.
so
That'll happen.
yeah, it's kind of switched me around a little bit. So
Yeah. No, it's always nice. Like last night was my fourth live at night. Now, Hogleg, he just didn't want to do it every night. And
uh-huh.
he gave up 2 nights, and that's how I started. He asked me a couple months ago, and then he asked me again, and I said, "Well, I'll try it." But when
Yeah,
there's people on the panel, it always makes the show go better.
absolutely.
And it's like this morning, I had Bugman 22. He went live, just uh, fishing with Nightcrawler on at a state park up around Indiana,
Hmm.
Summit State Park, and he was there. He didn't catch nothing on there, but boy, that guy can talk. You get him talking, he can talk.
I like Bugman a lot. He's
Yeah,
a great guy.
he was talking. He was fun, and I invited him on. I said, and he was just setting up. I'm like, yeah, please come on live because people want to see fishing.
Yep, that's right.
Yeah, and you got to have content for people. I'm slowly, trying to get more content out there and play a couple games. And a couple people told me, how to keep. You got to keep the people kind of, liking what they see to keep their attention and keep it going.
That's right. Yep.
Yeah,
It's good to have, interaction. I've always got a great chat. Everybody's always
yeah,
talking and making comments, and that's
yeah,
another good point, Kayak, is that he uses bobbers to get bluegills, and that's we went over a couple weeks ago exactly how to figure out where to put your bobber on your line so your hook was getting at the depth that it needed to catch the fish.
Yeah.
And I know that's the number one problem that I see at the dock when I go. People will be fishing, and I won't say anything to people. Of course, they're doing their own thing and all of that. But
Yeah.
a lot of the time, I'll have the camera there, and they'll start asking, what do you do, and this and that and the other, and they're like, how are you catching these fish, and we're not catching any fish. And I'm like, it's because I'm getting my bait down to where the fish are. You're
Oh,
throwing
yeah.
your bobber out with that much line underneath it, and it's
Yeah.
not getting down to where the fish are. And so that
Yeah.
I see that mistake with new anglers more than just about
Yeah.
anything that I see.
Yeah, that's good. If someone asks me, I'll tell them, but I
Right.
won't. I'm the same way. I don't tell someone what to do if they're enjoying themselves. But if they see me catch a fish and ask me, how are you catching them?
Mhm.
I tell them, you just have to try different things, lower your baits. Yeah, this
Mhm.
morning, John Parker came on my show for the first time, and that was cool.
Nice.
He came on there texting, and it was in the chat, and it was about the time I was ready to wrap it up. He probably would have came up on panel. I was just in his live before I came on your show. I seen your icon come up, and I told him, I said he was wrapping his show up, and I told everybody, yeah, Calls is coming on live here in a couple minutes.
Yeah,
So
thank you.
John ended his, and I came right over and popped up on yours.
Well, thank you. I appreciate you coming
Yeah.
up and hanging out with me. This is awesome.
Yeah, I've caught every one of your shows except the one where you had issues 2-3 weeks ago.
Lord have mercy. And
Yeah.
that phone, it was my phone. We figured it out. And do
Yeah.
you know, I went back to Verizon and explained to them that, the phone would not allow me to go online, but I used my daughter's phone on the same line at the same speed with the same everything. And it came on with no issues. And I was 3 days past having it for a month. And
Wow.
they couldn't replace my phone. So they have given me a defective phone that they are now telling me that I need to pay $100 worth of insurance deductible after just buying the phone
Oh my God.
to get the phone corrected. So
Yeah.
needless to say, we're changing carriers.
Yeah, I would too if they wouldn't take care of you like that.
It was terrible. Hey,
Yeah.
Dale, hey, Slip, welcome in. And
Hey,
look,
Dale.
look, lady said to tell you, hey, half century.
Hey, look, lady, how you doing? He's the Ohio River fisherman.
Uh-huh.
Yeah. And this is Greenwell and Quite Curtis. He's Ohio. And
Mm-hmm.
Eric.
Uh-huh.
He's
Absolutely.
Ohio River. There's a lot of them on the
Yeah.
Ohio River.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, we've got quite a few here in Tennessee, but not necessarily me, Daryl, and Jody, and the cat fisherman who shall not be named. And then we got kayak catfish. So we've got several, here in Tennessee, but we've
Yeah.
got a lot of people that are, in the community now that are
Yeah.
in Tennessee.
Yeah, I'm due for a trip to Tennessee. I went last fall. I went twice. I was in Watts Bar. I
Yeah.
stayed at the fish camp there.
Mm-hmm.
There's a camp there, and they got little cottages. I stayed there for like 4 days, and they have like, little shelters. You pull your boat in, you leave your poles, your tackle, everything. Nobody bothers nothing.
Oh, nice.
And it's called like Pine Tree. It's close to the dam down there in Watts Bar.
Mm-hmm.
And we fished. My wife went. And she caught bluegills. Put them on a bigger hook and caught some nice bass. And I was out there catching catfish. And then we came in, ate, and I went back out and stayed out till about 4 a.m. and done real good. And it got down to 40, 45 that night.
Oh, wow.
It was cold, but I dressed for it, and I love fishing in Watts Bar. If it's windy, it gets kind of rough.
Yeah. No, Watts Bar is definitely great.
But I haven't been on the river up by Chattanooga and some of the other cities around there. I haven't been on them waters yet, and I'd love to be there.
Absolutely. Yeah. I got to experience it. I've never been on it except for the one time Trophy Seekers. I got to go with the Trophy Seekers.
Yeah.
Yours, and Daryl took me fishing, and I got to fish up there. It was great.
Yeah, Daryl always catches the big fish.
Yeah. Yeah,
Yeah,
he's
always.
got it dialed in. Yeah.
Now,
Hey, Mark.
don't he live south, Daryl? Then he drives back north to get to the Tennessee River.
Yeah.
That's what I
Now I'm
thought.
not sure which direction, but I know he lives in I think it's Kentucky, and then but he's real close to the border.
Yeah,
He drives
yeah,
back. I believe that's right, but I'm probably wrong. But he
yeah,
definitely does drive to Chattanooga.
yeah. But the waters, and I always watch Big Mike fish, and
Big Mike.
he.
Yeah.
I haven't seen him fishing lately. I used to watch him a year ago all the time, and
Hmm.
I haven't seen him very much. I don't know what I hope everything's all right.
Well, I haven't seen him in a while, but I believe when he changed jobs, I believe it kind of changed everything for him because since then,
Yeah,
he's really been sporadic as far as being online.
yeah. Them darn jobs get in the way of fishing, don't they?
They do. And I was going to go fishing for tonight's show, and
Yeah.
I just it feels like it's 101 outside right now, so
Oh,
I'm
I
not
bet. Yeah. It's hot here in Cincinnati too,
right,
but
right.
it'll cool off.
In
Once the
Georgia.
sun goes down, it'll cool off.
Yeah, Mark from Catfish and Crappie, he does. That's right, he does. He lives in Georgia and he drives to Chattanooga, so it's
Yeah,
Georgia. Yeah, not
yeah,
no,
yeah. I thought he lived south of there.
no, no. I don't believe so. No, he lives in Georgia right there because now I remember him saying that. Now that Mark
Yeah.
said it, yeah.
Well, Daryl's going to be fishing against Stan
Susquehanna.
Susquehanna. Yeah, and they're going to be fishing. I think this Friday or Saturday. In a 1 versus 1, and that's going to be Hogleg is putting it on.
Ah, that'll be fun to
Yeah,
watch.
there's one Friday and Saturday, and then there's a couple next weekend also that Hogleg is going to carry the show.
That's fun.
Yeah, it's always that one. The one with Stan and Pork Chop. It took 3 times for them to find a winner. Thank God they finally got that one over with. It just kept going on and on because they had the limit set at 5 pound or more on the channel, and they just couldn't catch a channel that big.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, and it
Mark
went on and
Mark from Catfish and Crappie says Daryl is going to beat Stan to a pulp.
that's what I've been telling Stan. He better sharpen his game because
Daryl
Daryl
don't
knows how to
play.
find. He knows how to find them big fish.
Yes, he sure
He's
does.
he's
Daryl,
good at it. Yeah,
yes,
very
he
good at it.
and the thing about the way Daryl fishes, it works for the waters that he's fishing because if he hasn't gotten a bite in 15 minutes, he's moving that boat.
Yeah,
He's going to another hole, and
yeah,
he knows the holes, and he will zigzag and move, and he will not stay still long unless the bite is hot. And so, if it has been 15, 20 minutes and he hasn't got a bite, he's moving that boat.
yeah. I noticed that. I seen him fish 3 or 4 times on Jody's catfishing show, the
Hmm.
Flathead show, and I seen him win it 2 or 3 times. And yeah, he'll move that boat after 20 minutes if they're not biting.
Yeah, he's won many of them.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, and Avid just came in. Hey, I'm so
Hey,
glad.
Evan, how you doing?
Yeah, I'm so glad you came to join us.
Yep.
Well, it's just about time to start wrapping things up. We're at 7:55, and we know that the bake shop is coming on Fields
Yeah.
to Water. So if you guys got time, go check that out. I definitely got a notification that Bex and Stevie are alive with
Okay.
so if you want to watch some live fishing, you can go over and check them out. And then after that is Panfish Nation, and it's just going to be a great night of YouTube. So there's Maurice Cason. Welcome in.
Well, thanks for having me on, calls.
Hey, I appreciate you coming up and hanging out with me. It's been a
Okay.
great conversation, so thank you.
Anytime you need me, just ask.
Okay, I will definitely.
Okay. Okay. Well, good night, everybody. I'll see y'all later.
Definitely. And hey, Joe, so we're going to go ahead and wrap it up a couple minutes here early. So be sure and go and check out the shows. Like I said, watch you some live fishing or jump over and watch the bait shop. It's always fun nights. And we will see you guys next week as we start to talk about crappie. So next week, crappie it is. So I hope everybody has a wonderful week, and I will talk to you guys in chat. See you later.